Hey everyone, it's Brett Hornby here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel here, and another week has passed and got some more updates on some Major League Sports here on their plans to return play here. Mostly the updates are going to be with Major League Baseball here, as there seems to be more of a concrete plan that's in progress for Major League Baseball to return play to get into the 2020 season here, as the case when the pandemic really was taken off with the COVID-19 or coronavirus here, that Major League Baseball was in the process of starting their season with spring training here, unlike the NHL and NBA where they were getting towards the last month of season here, and I'll talk about that. The NHL and hockey we'll talk about in a separate video here, but all I'm going to say for the NBA is that apparently they're still a couple weeks away from announcing their plans here. All we know is that, obviously, with all other major sports, that if they do come back, it would be in front of empty arenas, empty stadiums, and the NBA still seems to be waiting a couple more weeks there. You're hearing more about team facilities starting to open up for practice where governments allow. So that's all I can really say about the NBA here. The NFL, they released their full schedule for the upcoming season here, and the fact that the NFL likely is going to be playing in front of empty stadiums here, that Fox, who televises the games here, said they're planning on using CGI to simulate fans and noise here. So that's still some time with the NFL, if in fact that they're actually going to play in said cities here. And that's the one thing so far that Major League Baseball is different from the plans that we're hearing with the NBA and the NHL here, is that in those leagues, they're leaning towards having hub cities, centralized cities where teams will play to either conclude the season or just jump right into the playoffs here. While Major League Baseball, they're actually planning on still having games played in said city. One exception I'm going to throw out here is that the Toronto Blue Jays, given that it's the only Major League Baseball team that's in Canada here, it'd be great if we ever get the Expos back at some point here, but there's still restrictions on the Canada-U.S. border here, that they extended the restrictions to non-essential travel until June 21st here. That's the latest news. And the fact that if you were traveling from the U.S. to Canada there, you would have to isolate for 14 days here, as per government orders here. So I know the Toronto Blue Jays are likely planning on playing their home games probably in Dundee, Florida. That was one plan there, or somewhere else, because then all the Major League Baseball will be in U.S. here. But Major League Baseball is still planning on playing in their home stadiums there, which, there's still risk involved with any of these Major League sports planning on returning here. And obviously, they'll do it when it's deemed safe here, from government authorities, health authorities, and have the best way to get the games in possible here, especially with testing and how they're going to still, figure out having these teams in bubbles here. Or I still think they might have to still figure out, mind you, with the case of Major League Baseball, if they're still playing in their home cities here, that's why they have those regionalized divisions, which I'm going to say is just for this particular case here, that I think Major League Baseball will go back to the American and National League here. And one thing I never thought of, and now it's been brought up recently, that they're planning on coming back for 82 games, so half of a full season, and the fact that you'll only be playing teams in said divisions there. There's 3 10-team divisions here. That they're going to be a universal designated hitter rule there for all divisions here, which that's different here, because the designated hitter, as you know, is in the American League. While they don't have the designated hit rule in National League games or home parks here. So the only time you would see maybe an American League pitcher going to bat here is if they're either playing in a National League stadium in interleague play or in the World Series here. So they'll apparently going to be a designated hitter rule universally in this league here. But it's definitely different that every team is still going to have their home stadium here and playing in their home stadiums here. I know that the one reason why Major League Baseball wanted to do that is so all the regional networks can still televise said game and get the revenue. That way, that's how it works in the U.S. with the Major League Baseball, that you have a lot of regionalized networks that can still televise the games that way. And that's where the Major League Baseball has some luxury of, well, they're still going to take a hit here that you're not going to have fans going to the games, that they could still generate revenue from at least television and merchandise on the website here. But the only other thing that could be messy with baseball here is that of the 4 major leagues, it's the only one that doesn't have a salary cap here. And definitely, I know one player that definitely spoke out was Alex Snell of the Tampa Bay Rays here, saying that, I mean, everyone's pay is going to be a cut everywhere. I know the NBA already announced that, teams and even Commissioner Adam Silver said that he's going to cut his pay there and revenue's going to be cut here, but Alex Snell will definitely plan on saying he would sit out if his pay wasn't going to get cut because of the risk and very shortfall here, but it doesn't seem to be a way around it here. But Major League Baseball, I think, might be a volatile situation with the Players Association in the league here, that there might be another stoppage in play here in the next couple of years, because there's definitely still a big disparity in Major League Baseball when it comes to the big money teams and the small money teams, where, I mean, the Red Sox and the Yankees are always deemed as the big money teams that always get the big names here. That doesn't necessarily mean you buy yourself a championship here, but they always get the first dibs on getting the biggest free agent here. And then you get the smaller market teams that are unable to compete here, and then you got other teams that, the Kansas City Royals is definitely a small market team there, where a few years ago they won the World Series and then they had to sell everyone off and do a rebuild here. But that's just another day there. But it sounds like things are getting a little closer, that Major League Baseball has a plan, or at least working on a plan to get back here. I keep hearing the June 10th date as a date for continuing on spring training, and then it's that Independence Day date thrown out for opening day for this abbreviated season here, which likely with half the season, because right now, as I'm recording this here, we're almost, if things were normal here, we would be 2 months into the MLB season here, and then, of course, if with the NBA and the NHL here, we would be in the conference championships for the playoffs here. But it's not where normal right now. But it still seems like that the World Series will still be likely awarded. Of course, if everybody comes back and is deemed safe to do so, that it will still happen in late October there. I know a few months ago when we were start speculating on when teams will play again, that they were thinking maybe the World Series could be awarded in December there. And the Major League Baseball has definitely evolved away from just having a Cactus League and a Grapefruit League, where you have everyone either playing in Arizona or Florida here, to now having all stadiums hosting games here. But I don't think the Toronto Blue Jays are going to be playing in Toronto here just because of the extra restrictions with the international border here. But it's still encouraging to hear that there's plans in place for sports to somehow return here in the major leagues here. But what do you think of all the plans here? Mostly with Major League Baseball here, just because the NBA still seems to be a couple weeks away from announcing what's next here. Your in team facilities are starting to reopen where it's allowed, and then the NFL, there's still time to hammer something out. They just released a schedule, assuming that the season will go as no fans here, and Fox is planning on broadcasting CGI graphics of fans and noise there. But I guess the last thing I should add in when it comes to Major League Baseball here is that I think I mentioned it on my update video last week, that they were looking at expanding the playoffs, and I thought maybe this could pave a way for expanded playoffs down the road here. That they're looking at possibly adding 14 teams in the playoffs for Major League Baseball here. Yeah, they still got to figure out how exactly they're going to figure that out, especially now when you got 3 divisions. The only other thing maybe is you have top teams and a couple wild cards, and then get top positions there, and then they decide play-in from there. That's just speculative on my part to make it work here. If they're looking at having a 14-team playoff for Major League Baseball here, which definitely expands from the 8 right now. Yeah, I believe it's 8. Yeah, because you got the 3 divisional winners and a wild card there. But then you add in the second wild card has a play-in to get that wild card spot there. So you have 8 teams that make the playoffs right now, which is still less than a third of the league that makes the playoffs in Major League Baseball here, where potentially you can add up to almost half the league to have some kind of playoff, even if it's a best of 3 play-in to get a wild card spot or whatever. But I think they're still figuring that out here, but it sounds like there's some progress being made. But I know that the Players Association, they're still pushing back a little on the salary thing and all the travel there. But it's still fun to at least speculate, talk about that there's plans for sports to come back here, and not saying, all right, screw it, cancel it here. But well, what do you think? So, as I say, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, home of the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders, I mostly talk Calgary and sports on my YouTube channel here, but I also do personal vlogs, attempt to comedy, and I do share experiences when I'm on the road or at a sporting event there. That's all I have on my channel here, so that sounds like you'll be interested to watch, to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey. You know what you need to do. I also have my other social media links down in the description below here. I'm mostly, for the Major League Sports, I mostly follow the NHL here, but I definitely casually follow baseball, basketball, and the football, National Football League. But, given that all sports have been paused here, I'll definitely tell for any sports in the summer here, because I don't think the last part where I mentioned about sporting events or being on the road here, I don't think I'm going to be doing any of those activities in the next year here, given what's been going on, and I have to make some sacrifices myself, just like all of us during this global pandemic here. So as I say here, I'll see you in the next video, and hopefully we'll be enjoying some live new sports in the near future here. Things sound encouraging from the major leagues at this point here. So, thank you.